Lesson 3, executive buy-in. Virtually all the successful pilots we have seen have had excellent executive buy-in. Why do you need the entire team? Well, you need the IT team because they're going to integrate the loyalty system into your other systems like the point-of-sale system. You need operations to train the frontline staff and monitor and motivate them along the way. You need the CFO because ultimately they'll be looking at the numbers and see, did it work? And you need the CEO to hold everybody's feet to the fire. So how do you do this? First, don't underestimate how frequently you will have to communicate the program goals and how you're doing. This program is strategic. Make sure people know why it's strategic. You're going to need to over-communicate. Second, include the full team. Never steamroll over any of the team members. Get all their concerns on the table so that they can be addressed in the pilot. Third, spend one-on-one time with each of the team members. They may express concerns to you in a private setting that they won't in a group. When they're more comfortable, you can get all of their concerns on the table and have a chance to explain to them why this is strategic in nature. When you have everybody on board, bring them back together in a group setting so you can hammer out the goals of the program. Lesson 4, set clear and measurable goals. The best pilots we see start with the end in mind. What are they trying to prove? Then they work backwards to figure out how to measure the goals so at the end of the pilot they can claim success. Let me give you an example. If you were running a technical and operations pilot, what might you measure? Well, you might look at how many errors were there? How many error-free days did I have? How fast were the transaction times? It'd be very easy to track these on a daily basis and at the end say, the pilot works, we're successful. Another example would be a guest engagement test. In that case, you're going against enrollment goals. How many people do I expect should enroll in the program per month per store? Did I hit those goals? And when you do, you claim success. Lesson 5, benchmarks. I love this picture. It reminds me of my daughters when they were younger. And everyone loves benchmarks. People want to understand, how am I doing relative to others? Think about when you were a little kid and measuring yourself against your peers. You will need benchmarks from an objective source to help you set the goals for the pilot. One of my favorite stories is from a VP of marketing who was asked by their CEO, how should we think about the results if we hit our enrollment goals? Should we be dancing, or is it just a ho-hum achievement? Paytronix was able to provide benchmarks from 25 similar restaurant concepts. This chain ended up having enrollment rates that were above the 75th percentile. The VP of marketing was able to say definitively, we should be dancing. You also need benchmarks to give the organization the intestinal fortitude to make changes when things aren't going as well as planned. Let's give you a real example of one chain's pilot. This graph shows the enrollment trend over time. The x-axis is the months from launch and the y-axis is the number of members in the program. We developed benchmarks from 25 similar concepts. The red line shows the 25th percentile and the blue line shows the 75th percentile from these benchmarks. Now in green you see the results of this customer's pilot. At the 2-month mark, they were trending at or below the 25th percentile. The organization was saying, but maybe this is good enough. In fact, your brand is unique and it stands out from the competition. But the benchmark helped give them resolve. Really, how can you be different from 25 other restaurant concepts that are similar? If other people can do it, we can execute better. Now you notice the green line starts trending upwards. What happened? The operations team shared the data with the individual location. It turns out that some of the locations were doing great and above the goal. This convinced the rest of them that they could do it too. They gathered the lessons learned from the top performing stores and implemented them system-wide. It turns out the top performing stores were doing informal cashier contests and using iPads to register guests in restaurants. There was another benefit. Shining the light on performance got the attention of all general managers. The GMs went to their teams to boost performance, so in the next weekly meeting, they had moved up the scale. The old adage, what gets measured gets done, works in this aspect of boosting the performance of your loyalty pilot.